I'm Kamerie Gibson. Welcome to the Kamerie Gibson Show, the podcast. I believe that one of the most precious gifts you can share with someone is your story. Pain has purpose and stories can change lives. Your journey to become more inspired and transformed by the lives of those around us starts now. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Kamerie Gibson Show, where we talk about transforming our pain into power. And today I have a special guest with me here today. His name is Donta. Donta, would you mind introducing yourself to the audience for me, please?
Okay, well, first and foremost, I'd like to say I appreciate you for allowing me on your platform. My name is Donta Young. I'm a content creator. I'm a mentor. I'm a consultant. And I basically just help men become the best version of themselves, men and women, mentally, spiritually, and physically. So you can find me on IG, TikTok, YouTube, Patreon.
Okay, you everywhere. That's good. And you're doing a little bit of everything with the men, for the men. And I kind of was talking to you a bit off the record about how I found your YouTube channel. You were touching on porn addiction and how porn is really bad for our mental and just for how we view sex when it comes to like our partner in love. Can you talk to me about what got you started with making those type of videos?
Ooh, let's see where we start. Well, I started my spiritual journey back in 2016. And, I was at a point in my life where it was like I needed to change. And it was just something came over me, a spirit or, something came over me that let me know that it was time to change, that something was about to happen in my life. So from then on, I just had this urge to become a better version of myself and to elevate myself spiritually. So I started doing my research on just spirituality, and then I came across sexual transmutation. So this is how I got into like what I talk about, semen retention and things like that. It started off with me trying to become a better person spiritually. So, as I did more research, as I started to practice, sexual transmutation, I started seeing things happen in my life. Things started to change. I started to change as a person. And then from there, it forced me to start healing myself. A lot of things that I had built up or stored inside, traumas, red flags, toxic behaviors, things like that, it all started to come to the surface. And so I don't want to get ahead of myself, but with the porn, I went to college, so everybody, my friends, everybody was into porn. Like it was just something that people did, and at the time I didn't realize how not only addictive it is, but how it can destroy you just on a spiritual level, so, from there, I just started putting, the pieces together, and I started to change myself, getting rid of my addictions. And then from there, I realized, wow, this thing really had a hold on me, because there's certain ways that you're supposed to go about, your sexual activities, right? That's a very sacred moment with your partner, and I feel like when we watch porn, it shows us a very misguided way of being with your partner. It's unrealistic, so I don't want to get ahead. I'll just leave it at that.
When you were talking about how like sex is sacred and how it should be kept and kind of private, I was kind of like thinking about how unpopular it seems like that is in our generation. I'm 25 personally. I'm not sure if you're in your 20s as well. But yeah, I'm like, you're 33?
33.
Okay, that's a special number, actually. Real special number. So, amen. Yeah, damn, PNB Rock was what, like 30 something, 31? Yeah. Anyways,
was he in his 30s? He might have been 30,
31 or some real young. Just that's when you just now getting started. Finally, you don't really care too much about what people think about you. You confident in yourself. Yeah.
Now,
anyway,
you go through a transformation for real, mentally.
Really, I'm excited.
Yeah.
5 more years. But anyways, yeah. So I would say our generation, we kind of share the same generation, kind of, maybe a little bit. I feel like they don't really prioritize that part of it, that sacred part of it. It's kind of like everybody's disposable. If you're not for it, you're like a prude or prune or whatever the phrase is, you know, you're not with it. Or what has that been like for you with like other peers and stuff when it comes to sex?
So, you know, the majority of people are still adolescents when it comes to that topic. So this is why they have that mindset of, oh, that's weird to think of it as sacred or anything like that. But there's levels to life. All right. So when you understand how powerful sex is, that's a powerful act. That's a ritual that you're doing with someone, and you're creating something. If you're not having a child, you're creating something in the spiritual realm, whether you know it or not. This is why when people get into relationships, you know, with certain people, and you're not really paying attention to your partner, they can manifest things in your reality. This is why you see people going through a lot of trauma and a lot of things in their life. It's the person they laying down with, right? So you got to be mindful of that. You're transferring energy between each other, right? Sex is sacral or sacred energy exchange. So you're exchanging energy between each other, right? So that's one thing I talk about, right? Because a lot of people think when I talk about like retaining your sexual energy, they think I'm saying stay away from women and, you know, you can't be sexually active. That's not what I'm saying. I'm teaching people how to discipline themselves and redefine who they are and how they've been using their energy, right? And then learn how to, you know, when you do have a partner, you lay down with your partner, learn how to actually build a connection with your partner. That's what sex is for. You're building a stronger connection, right? On a different level, on a different dimension. So that's just some things, you know, when you start to get into more research about it, I just try to bring that to the light, you know, of just, you can create things, you can manifest your life with your sexual energy. You can't just keep wasting it and keep thinking of it as something that's just you do for recreation. You can, but you know, it's just levels to it. So
it's levels because it's consequences to it, regardless of how you feel about it. Like, get your feelings out of it. These are the causes and effects biologically, psychologically, like you said, once you do that with another person. I mean, we're literally talking about organs, you know, that we're like sharing with another person, like strangers, you know, it's disgusting. Like, we're monkeys. It's so nasty. But I don't know. I was kind of thinking about when you talked about you started to look into semen retention when you were pursuing like your spiritual journey or transformation. I want to know the story that ultimately like got you on that journey to begin with. What was like pulling you to make that decision?
Okay, so let's backtrack. It's funny because I'm gonna say this first. You know, when you have a purpose in life, the Most High is gonna show you, give you signs throughout your life of what you should be doing, right? So when I was in high school, I ran track. I was an athlete, high school and college. So high school, our coach would always tell us, you know, don't have sex before your performance because you'll lose energy. You know, you won't be as sharp as you should be. And I would hear that. And then even in college, I would hear the same thing, like, don't have sex before your races. And I didn't think nothing of it. You'd be like, oh, okay, whatever. You know, we're going to do what we do. I'm young, you know, so I'm not trying to do that. Okay. But like, jump back into when I told you about my spiritual journey, 2016. And then I started doing my research again. It came back full circle. Like, oh, okay, wait, I'm getting this topic again, sexual transmutation. So I would notice, like when I was in college, like when I would go periods without having sex, I was way more focused. I had more energy, and it just seemed like things would work for me. Like my spirit just felt clean. And when I started my journey again, I went a few weeks and I felt the same results. So I was like, wow, maybe there's something to this. So I just started doing it. You know, I wanted to challenge myself. I love a challenge. So I just wanted to challenge myself. There was this challenge of like going 90 days, you know, because 90 days is like a sacred number of when your body, your mind, it rewires itself and you heal yourself basically from all of your habits and routines that you built up.
Wow.
Right. So I was doing that. And at the same time, it was forcing me to heal myself. A lot of things was coming up to the surface for me to deal with. So, I was doing that for years. Like I didn't start doing YouTube. I started doing YouTube in 2019, like the end of 2019. So from 2016 to then, I was doing that, practicing, working on myself behind the scenes. And then, I had another urge of I felt like, I was working a job and it just didn't feel right to me. I felt like I had a bigger purpose. So I would just ask the Most High, like, what is my purpose in life? What do I need to be doing? I know working a job, living the American dream, that's not enough. It don't sit right with me. So as I asked that question, I started off doing like 30-second videos on IG and Facebook, just giving motivation and information, knowledge, and people gravitated towards it. Like I got a lot of people that would like view it and, respond to it. So, one day I just took my phone and I just started recording, and that was my first YouTube video, I love yourself. And then from there, it was just like I opened up a door, so.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I know it's not easy to stay consistent as a content creator. As a creator, you're kind of dibbling and dabbling in your own life and your own personal, business, and you sharing it with the world. Like anybody could watch it, It's very vulnerable of you to do that. What has been like that ultimate motivator to keep going?
I never forget where I came from. I always remember just the hardships I went through to get to this point. And I always show gratitude to my past self for getting through those situations. That way I can be in the position I am today. So I never forget that. Also my motivation, the best content comes from just living life. True. So my channel, I try to keep it authentic in a way that I'm just speaking my experience. I'm not trying to be professional or try to be too gimmicky. I'm just being myself. And I think that's what keeps me consistent because I just get on the camera and I just speak. I'll have a topic and then I just speak. I don't have a script or anything like that. And it comes from a real place.
Yeah.
So one thing about doing what we do is that you can't put too much pressure on yourself. You gotta live your life and you gotta speak from your soul, from your heart.
Definitely. And people gonna feel that, that's what's gonna really last, for the long term anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking, you said you grew up in all over Michigan, all over the place, right?
Yeah, basically East Coast, basically.
East Coast, and then a little bit of the South as well.
A bit of South, a little bit of Midwest.
Okay. Did you have any men that were like the prime role models that you've got, some of that inspiration from to be a certain type of man?
Yeah, so my grandfather, excuse me, on my dad's side, he was one of the first people who introduced me to spirituality because he was a pastor, right? So I grew up going to his church and just being around him a lot. And that was my first, doorway into spirituality. And, I was around my uncles, my dad, of course, and just all of them collectively kind of taught me how to be a man. They were very masculine men. Like I never seen my grandfather or my uncles or my dad really complaining or get emotional. They was very just stoic, So I took a lot from that. And, I realized I do consultations and there's a lot of guys who didn't grow up with father figures or male figures in their life. So when I say certain things, it's like, they're like, wow, I never knew this, or no one ever taught me how to be a man.
Right.
So,
wow.
Just all all the things that I took from growing up is allowing me to help others who didn't have that experience or didn't have that peace in their life.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah. That's really like doing the Lord's work or whoever you believe in's work. Especially because I was watching this interview and this guy was just saying like, we can't just dismiss Black families. Like we don't need to build strong Black families. And by you being able to be that father figure, give people that father figure, big brother advice who don't have that around them, that's positive and constructive. You're helping fix that whole strong Black family structure. You know, as women, of course, we got to do our part as well with, you know, rearing women, young ladies to be better than what we're seeing, you know, in the media today. But I think that's the ultimate, like, that's the goal, you know, it's for us to be healthy and whole so we can be whole together and create, you know, generations.
Yeah, a lot of folks think that it don't make a difference. You know, you having a single parent, they think that it don't affect you, but it does. You understand when you're born, like your parents are like the first men and women that you see in your life. You know, your mother's the first woman you fall in love with.
Right.
You're born. Your father too.
Yeah.
So like, you know, you're seeing how they interact with each other. And then that kind of gives you a perspective of how to interact with a man or a woman. So if you don't have both of those elements, that masculine and feminine, you're missing a piece. And then you go out here and that's why there's so many toxic relationships. People don't know how to be in a relationship because they never seen it growing up.
Right.
You know? So that's a very important piece.
Yes. I didn't even think about it. Like people, we really do kind of like neglect that part. And I was thinking if you can create like a healthy mom and dad or like reshape their minds, create a healthy family, that child is maybe less likely to like do harm or, you know, affect somebody else negatively and create that whole domino effect in the future. So I think it does matter. It absolutely does. Okay, so what would you say have been the biggest lessons you've learned in love?
Love. Okay.
I know that was a total shit.
No, I mean, that's a good question. That's a very good question. I would say you got to put your ego to the side. You got to know how to forgive.
Yeah.
That's a huge factor because, you know, in my past relationships, you know, you get into an argument. Nobody wants to be wrong. So you'll hold on to that. You'll hold on to your, you know, your peace. And instead of just apologizing and letting the situation go, you'll hold on to that. And that right there builds a resentment between each other over time. Yeah. You know, you get into an argument, you bring up stuff from years ago that you said or that they said, and then it just never goes away. So learning how to catch that in the moment and be like, okay, you know, I apologize for this, or I see where you're coming from, and then just release that. All right. And then also, I would say another thing I've learned is, are we talking about love with a woman or just love period?
Love period.
Okay, so love, I feel like, especially with a partner, it's like a reflection of you. So you start to see a lot of things about yourself, or that your partner will show you things about yourself that maybe you need to change. You know, because we're reflections of each other. It's like holding up a mirror. A lot of times we don't want to see our true selves. We'll run away from it. And this is why we might have resentment with each other. But for the most part, it's all about healing, seeing who you are and letting your partner allow you to become a better version of yourself by learning from each other. Right. As a woman, you can teach me things that as a man, I can teach you things about yourself. You know, that's the whole point of having opposing energies.
I like it. I know in some of your videos you talk about modern women and dating. What would you classify like modern women to behave or think like from your experience?
So I just think with like social media and just the way society's run right now, it's making a lot of people confused. And I think some women, they just don't know how to interact with a man. And the same with men. Everybody's at war with each other. And they don't understand we all need each other.
Right.
You know, men, they want to hate women. Women want to hate men. But I say this all the time. Look at your tummy. Do you have a belly button? Right? You have a belly button. That means you came from a woman. Nobody in this world everybody in this world has a belly button. It means you came from a woman. So
right.
You wouldn't be in this world if it wasn't for a woman. She's that portal for you to come into this reality. Right? We all got aunties, moms, grandmothers, sisters. So it's crazy to me how people don't put things in perspective from their real life. You know, you wouldn't disrespect your mom or your grandmother, so why would you go out here and disrespect any other woman? That's somebody's mom, sister, whatever, too. You know, and same thing for men. So we got to look at things from a family perspective. It's like we are all somebody's family. Got to learn how to respect each other and love each other. And that's what
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm done.
Oh, when you were saying that about men, I think some of it is, I'm thinking of Black men because those are the men that I've grown up around. Some of it can come from like feelings of powerlessness and not feeling like a man, not being able to like be those things that make up a man. And I think sometimes I can't remember. I think it was Louis Farrakhan. Somebody, yeah. When the Black man is getting beat down by, his boss, he beats on his woman who, he has power over. So I think some of that can attribute to some reasons why, I don't know.
Yeah.
Dating women also, I think some people hate their mothers too, and a lot of, I think they did a study on serial killers. Like they usually have poor relationships with their mothers. Like there's some type of big, like you said, connection to like, the mother and the child, that if that mother is severed to a point, it can affect the child indefinitely. What do you have to say to that?
No, I agree. A lot of society is programmed for us to be failures, especially in the Black community.
Yeah.
And I think it was the 70s when they had the, government assistance. In order for you to get assistance, you couldn't have a man in the family.
Right.
So that right there was a piece of the puzzle.
Very
and then
true.
With other things that happen, but like it's already designed for us to fail. So one thing we got to do is we got to see the traps for one, and we got to do the opposite.
Yeah. What do you think? Oh, so sorry. I thought you were done. I'm not listening to your pauses.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now I was just gonna say, like when my grandfather and my grandmother were coming up, they didn't have much. They were powerless, but they were still close because they were fighting the same struggle. And we lost that somewhere where we started warring with each other instead of being together.
Right. You know what else? What I was thinking when I was thinking about like just Black people and like what it was before, like you said, they had this similar struggle. And I think with some relationships today, the Black woman is exceeding, economically in comparison to like most Black men, who they are supposed to be dating or expected to date, whatever people want to say. And I think that disconnect alone, which is like you're still Black and you're still, there's still sacrifices that you're making there by being an independent woman. Like I think it's creating like a different reality for us. So that's why it's like there's no room to make a connection. I'll talk about it now, being 25. It's not so much about passion and relationships for me like it was, but more about purpose. What is our purpose if we're going to be together? Yeah, there's like lust and feelings and romance, but all that shit, that stuff fickles out, man, so much, especially when life really comes at you. But it's like, what's going to keep us together? When your mother gets sick, my mother, and we got to, focus on something outside of us, what is it going to be that thing? So another thing I was thinking about when you were talking was the hypersexualization of Black people, like against each other, like with a lot of Black women like dressing very provocatively, like dancing. I feel kind of just looking like little puppets, for mainstream media. Like Black men too as well, like just coming off very immature, adolescent at ages where they should be like well grown, mentally, intellectually, emotionally. What do you have to say about some of those things?
It's all a distraction.
It is.
It's a distraction to keep us from coming into our true power, our true selves. This is why they have all the BS on there, of us just entertaining all the time.
Entertaining, yeah.
And when you get rid of the distractions, you actually start to ask questions about life. Like, what is my purpose? And, what gifts do I have? What can I bring to the world? And that's what they don't want. This is why we always have the BS in front of us to keep us from accessing that part of ourselves.
Yes.
So
it's, what Dr. Umar Johnson was saying something in the video. He said Black kids, they ain't got no ADHD, they ain't got no focus problems. They need to sit their ass down and learn how to just focus. Like, we don't have all this. It's not real. Like, all of it ain't real. A lot of it is just BS to keep us from, like you said, going within and making that action. Like, we don't have to keep waiting for people to tell us, okay, you can finally heal yourself. Now you can be great finally. It's like, no, make it happen. You got the resources. We live in the age of information. What are your reasons,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what would you tell the younger Donta with the wisdom you have today?
What would I tell the younger me? I would tell myself to have confidence, because you have the power to create your life, right? Nobody has control over that but you. So you got to believe in yourself first. You got to have a vision in life, and you got to be consistent. No matter how hard things get, there's always a solution. There's always a way to get what you need in life. So never let, one obstacle or one loss make you just drop your dreams altogether. Right? Stay persistent.
What would you say young men or men in general should be focusing on at this time?
I think I would say men need to focus on becoming men, and that takes a lot of alone time. Stop looking for external validation. Stop chasing women and focus on yourself. When you focus on yourself, everything will come to you that you need and that's for you in your life. Women will come to you, friends, opportunities, everything will come to you, but you got to change yourself first, right? Because life is a reflection of you. You attract who you are. So.
Yeah. That is so true. That's so funny. My mentor was telling me, like, look, if you broke, that's because you thinking with the mindset of a broke person. If you this, that's like it. And honestly, there's nothing more empowering than knowing that you have full control of everything. You really do. But that was a good one.
This life is, it's an illusion. So you have the power. You write down your goals and what you want, and you write it down as if you already have it. It's going to come to you. You'd be surprised how you write down, the income that you want, and then just see how the money starts flowing in out of nowhere. And you're like, where this come from? Because you have the power. Right?
Yeah.
You have the power.
Okay. So speaking of this earth and leaving this earth, what would you say your ultimate goal is before you leave this earth in the physical?
I just want to help those who are going through a similar journey as I'm going through, like have like a foundation that they can build off of, because when I was going through my spiritual awakening, man, I didn't have no one to really talk to or anything like that. So it was very hard. Thought I was going crazy. I couldn't resonate with a lot of people anymore. So, I think my duty is to help those who are going through that, to let them know that they're not alone. And, you're going to have ups and downs through your journey, but the rewards is worth it.
Yeah.
Write my name in the stars. I want to leave a legacy to help raise the vibration.
What have you seen about men though that caused you to this action? Have you seen them suffering? Have men been coming to you? Or I know you did the consultations, but ultimately, what is the current state of men from your experience talking to them now?
A lot of men are lost. They don't know what they want out of life, and they don't know how to get it. They don't know where to start. They're just lost souls. So I just try to give them something to start off with. Start here, right? Just start somewhere, but don't stay in your situation, right? You gotta take action in your life.
Yeah.
Go back to the porn thing. Like a lot of guys, they use that as an escape from reality. And one thing about that is guys are giving their energy to this. I call it digital cheeks. You know what I'm saying? Like digital cheeks. They're giving their energy to digital cheeks. And it's like, you're not getting anything in return. When you're with a woman, when you give her your energy, she's giving you something back as well. So it's a mutual exchange. But when you're just looking at a screen, or you're not getting anything. So you're killing yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I'm trying to get men to understand. Retain your energy, build your resources up. It's going to change your life. And when you're rich inside, that's going to reflect out here in this world. You're going to become rich, become abundant, all these things.
Oh my gosh, that's a good one. Oh my gosh. You're very precise and clear. You don't ramble on. Very, very good, well trained.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Last question for you, because you've been doing so great, Dante.
Mm-hmm.
What do you hope to see more of in the world that you're not seeing currently?
Unconditional love. People being able to have empathy for each other, and be able to see life from other people's perspective. A lot of times we get trapped in our own ego, and we want to just think that we're right. We want to be self-righteous, but we don't understand that how somebody else is being affected, or something along the lines of that. So I think it'd be cool to see more unconditional love. And, I don't want to get too deep, but if you get into like chakras and things like that, your heart chakra is the gateway from your lower self and your higher self, right? So when you open up your heart with unconditional love, you come into another consciousness of yourself. Your heart is a consciousness in itself. So you will start to see the world differently. You're going to be happy with yourself, because that shows self-love. Self-love is a reflection. You're going to attract that. So more people start doing that, it's going to change the vibration.